Hey guys, Lucid here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be explaining why so many people quit Xenoblade Chronicles 2 way too early. A lot of people start Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and then they drop it. They say it's too slow, too confusing, too anime, just too much in general. And to be honest, I almost quit too. But after sticking with it, I think most people don't quit because the game is bad or not their style. They quit because the game fails to teach you why it's so good. The first few hours of Xenoblade 2 feel stiff. You learn to auto attack, then you wait, then you press an art, and that's it. It feels extremely slow compared to other action RPGs. For example, early on in the game, you don't have an option for a chain attack. A chain attack simply allows the party to take turns using specials, and each special builds damage over time while the enemy is frozen. Chain attacks are mainly built upon orbs, which we will get into in a moment. The goal of each chain attack is to go as long as possible to deal massive damage to an opponent. Adding on, when you're very early within the game, the range of blades you're able to use is very, very limited. You are locked to using certain blades for about 3-ish chapters or about 2 hours of gameplay. Now this is the main part where people quit. It's the combat system. I personally love it, but for many it can be confusing and hard to understand. Combat is a lot simpler than it looks. You have your driver, Rex, Nia, Tora, Morag, or Zeke, who auto-attacks to charge your arts. You can make this charge faster using pouch items or by stutter stepping, which cancels the auto-attack animation and restarts it. Arts deal damage and increase your specials. Some arts also have buffs or bonus effects depending on your blade and driver. Extending on, your blade determines your weapon class, specials, and element. For example, Pyra is an Aegis blade with flame as her element and has 4 unique specials. Using a special starts a blade combo. If you keep the combo going and reach level 3, an orb appears on the enemy. The orb's element takes reduced damage, but it's key for chain attacks. Bursting the orb lets you continue the chain attack for massive damage. So in reality, the problem isn't that the combat is bad, the problem is that the game drip feeds mechanics over like, I don't know, 15 hours of gameplay? Speaking of how confusing the combat is, the fuck-ass tutorials are as confusing. This is where the rest of the players tap out in my opinion. The harshness of these tutorials is that the text within them is so unnecessary. There is so much they try to explain within one section that's almost unreadable and not understandable. They probably sat in an office and said, hey, look at this amazing wall of text. Now trim it down to a paragraph and teach 4 systems within it. Another huge problem that extends on from within these tutorials is that if you decide to skip them out of rage from how much text there is, you can never reread them. They're lost. They fade away like the ether from within the environment. Now we're moving on to the biggest problem with me. The game's systems layer on top of each other like a cake. You're told what a blade combo is, but you're not shown why it really matters. You're told about driver combos, but not how insane they will get later. So most players think they quote-unquote get it, when they actually haven't seen 60% of the systems yet. Then there's the story. The beginning is slower, it leads harder into anime tropes.
Now place your hand on my chest.
What? Are you sure?
If that's not your thing, then I 100% agree that it's really easy to bounce off of. But what people don't realize is how much darker and more layered it becomes later on. Within the story, it answers the question of who are you when the world expects you to be someone else, and what happens when your choices start defining you more than your name. It hits you with the thought of, why do we fight? What drives us forward when the path is unclear? It makes you realize some things are gone forever, leaving only echoes of what once was. And finally, you notice blades and drivers are bound together like husband to wife, but their fates intertwined in ways that challenge who controls whom. This tone shift is a lot more than people expect. Now, we're moving on to when the game finally clicks. For me, the game clicked when I finally understood how everything connected. Auto attacks charge arts build combos, combos build elemental orbs, orbs fuel chain attacks. And suddenly, the combat wasn't slow, it was layered and intriguing. It stops feeling passive and starts feeling more so strategic. Overall, people quit because the combat hasn't really opened up yet. Early fights feel basic, auto attack, press and art, and that's it. The real depth, blade combos, driver combos, chain attacks, doesn't really show itself until much later. Many players quit before they even see what makes the system shine. Adding on, the tutorials don't explain the depth. They tell you the names and mechanics in the tutorials, but not why they matter. You quote-unquote learn about blade combos and driver combos, but you don't get to see the insane interactions that make them exciting. By the time the combat clicks, it's way too late for first impressions. The story can also be surprisingly heavy, emotional, or serious in some cases, which interferes with the initial bright, upbeat vibes of early gameplay. Players expecting a light adventure might be off guard and feel disconnected. Lastly, everything unfolds so slowly. Exploration, combat depth, you need time to let the systems sink in. But if you're used to instant gratification, it can feel like a slog. This forces you to have patience. And in 2026, patience is rare. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you did enjoy. I also want to say, sorry for not uploading forever. I've been sick, caught up with school, grinding out baseball. You guys know how it is. Hopefully this is when I start to upload more often for you guys. I really do enjoy making these types of videos for y'all. If you do want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and drop a like down below. And with that said, loose it out.